see. Participating today, we have myself, Bailey, Mike, Ray, Etienne, Keith, and Ladislav. Guillaume is not attending the meeting today, but Kitty is going to act as his proxy. From the alternate board members, we have Kitty and Gregory participating. And our guests today, we have Kuhn, Pirates on Air, and Thomas Gall. Welcome, everybody. I think we'll start with, okay, so we do have quorum. That is, hang on.
The meeting is Bailey, or?
Yes, I'll chair the meeting today if everybody accepts that. Nobody opposes, I take it? Okay, excellent. So we have quorum with 7 out of 7 board members present. That's including 1 proxy. Moving on, let's start with the approval of the minutes. So if you look on the pad at line 56, you can see the minutes from the last meeting. Oh, sorry, that's, well, it's 54 and 56. There's 2 links there. The 22nd of October was the last official board meeting. And then November 8th, we have, oh no, sorry, I forgot about our meeting after the GA. Sorry. Yeah, so line 57 is that was the meeting that we had after after the GA weekend. But the board meeting before that, before the GA, is line 54. So if everybody could just go and approve those or not approve those or abstain, whatever you feel like doing.
Just Kitty is missing.
Okay, so we're just missing Kitty. So that's line 59, 60, 61. Awesome, thank you all. So the minutes have been approved. So we will move forward with individual reports from all of us. So Guillaume is not here, so I'll start with mine. I've basically just been recovering from GA weekend and all of the insanity around that. That's really all I've been up to. Haven't started anything new since then, really. I will over the next little while. But yeah, that's about it for me. Next, we have Keith.
So yeah, I've been in the Czech Republic since our General Assembly, and I've had a lot of cool meetings with the mayor, members of parliament, lots of cool stuff. I've been sharing information about the Pirate Security Conference and trying to promote speakers for that event. The deadline is due at the end of this month. I've also been working on consultations about the Think Twice conference and lots of other stuff. So that's it for me.
Awesome, thanks, Keith. Ladislav, you're up.
Hey, well, so basically I hope to organize all the meetings here in Prague and participated with at them with Keith. I wrote the details in the pad.
Awesome, thank you. Ray.
Yes, the text in line 78 says it all, but I'm going to use my time on the floor to address a point of order. I see that Gregory makes sure that writes that vote of Gregory goes beyond R7. The way I see it, the alternate board members present does not have a vote and shall not vote unless they have received a proxy, like Kitty has. So Kitty is acting as a full board member right now, while Gregory, with full speaking rights, of course, does not have a vote. If that's how I see the world, and I would like you to correct me if I'm wrong.
Point of order, I'm away from the keyboard for 5 minutes.
Okay.
I'm fine with whatever, but I think the J decision was different, but I'm fine with whatever you think.
Well, then we should discuss it at some point, maybe under any other business, because I don't want to be wrong. So let's bring it up later in the meeting. Is that all right, Victor?
As I said, I'm fine with whatever.
Okay, Ray, do you have anything more to say for your report? No? Okay, Mike.
Very much what Ladja and Kit said. I just joined them on Friday. Hadn't the luxury to be there all week, so we just met with the Prague mayor, with Kit and Ladja, and after that I spent half the day with Kit and his lovely family.
Nice, that's awesome. Sucks that we couldn't be there with you guys. Sounds really fun. Anyway, Etienne.
Nothing to report, just for information. I will be probably absent 1 week in December because of my exams.
Okay, thank you. Good luck with your exams, by the way. Okay, we're moving on to alternates now. Gregory.
Yeah, we had the General Assembly of Pirate Party of Germany this weekend. Well, actually, like yesterday and the day before yesterday. And yeah, busy with that, and still not fully recovered yet. Actively working currently on the Pirate Summer Camp in Poland in July 2019, and also we have in 3 weeks the Foundation Foundation 42 GA, and the week before that the Pirate Party of Europe council meeting in Reykjavik, which is also needs to be preparing. So this is what I'm been busy since the PPI GA.
Awesome, thank you. Kitty.
Basically, I've been helping Ray with some reviewing of software, which would enhance communication.
Awesome. Which software is that? Is that like Discord and stuff?
We've been looking at Airtable and Civic CRM for customer relations management features.
Oh, okay, cool. So Cedric is not present. Keith, are you back?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. So if everybody's ready to move on, we will get into the agenda items. Is everybody good with that? I'll take that as a yes. So first item, Pirate Security Conference, sharing the call for submissions. Keith, I will pass this along to you since this is yours.
Okay, the deadline is the end of this month. I think we've got and there's the link there for, that's the wrong link for the sharing for the call submissions. It's a line at 102. I'm going to move that up. That is the link. Basically, people are going to talk about security issues, and it's just got to be an abstract, just a small, short abstract. Can we please forward that around to different people who were experts in the field of IT and security, cybersecurity? Again, it's on line 98.
Okay, that's great.
I have a comment.
Okay, Ray has a comment.
As you can see in line 105, the call for papers says that we are organizing the event. That implies us coordinating, planning, funding, and running it. And I cannot see that we have a decision on that in the board, although we have a decision on being patrons for the Party Security Conference. I see that in my comment I've written something wrong, but I referenced the Think Twice conference while I meant to reference the Pirate Security Conference. Nobody should take this as me opposing anything to do with the Pirate Security Conference. I just simply want us to do things in an informed way. Thank you.
I'd like to, Guillaume briefed me a little bit on his position on various things. So Guillaume's position is essentially, from a principal standpoint, he is for the organization of both conferences, but not for financing them. And he feels that there should be a standing committee to deal with them.
Yes, that's a clear and great standpoint. Probably should be made note of, not under this item. This item is sharing of call for submissions. There will be an item after this about the Party Security Conference, whether or not to organize it, as opposed to only patroning it. So Kitty's comment is really welcome, but it probably belongs under the next agenda item. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. I stand corrected.
Can I just make a point of order? I think we've already gone over the call for submissions, and so we've moved on to discussion, because this discussion of patronage and whatnot seems more of a discussion. So I think we can lump those two together.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, is there anything to vote on as far as the call for submissions, Keith?
No, because this is not kind of irrelevant of the board and the second issue. It just means, as a personal matter, conferring with people who are experts in the field of pirate security and sharing that link with them to submit.
Yeah, fair enough. That's what I thought. Okay, so we can just move into the discussion then with for the Pirate Security Conference in general. That is line 102, where that starts.
Just a short note on the sharing of the call of submission. I did share it in our communication platform, and I approached one person who would make a good speaker.
Awesome.
There's another point that Guillaume was making, and that was that we need to bring Alex on board, then let him present his plans, budgets, and related activities, and then make a final decision. It should be handled by a standing committee working on planning and supporting of conferences events. I think I've covered it all.
Yes, that is exactly the author or proposer's point here. I was the one that proposed this, and I totally agree. We really should set up a standing committee and make plans, discuss those plans, and then make a formal decision. And we should do that as soon as we can.
There is also the opposite way possible. Like somebody from PPI could join the planning meeting of the Pirate Security Conference that's held regularly and be informed of what is going on. Because otherwise, I see the danger of the planning team who is organizing the conference have to do the work twice. Like doing the work and then present itself, the whole thing again, to a PPI standing committee, which doesn't seem to be efficient to me.
May I speak?
Yep, go ahead, Thomas.
Well, in simple, there is an organizational committee already planning the conference. So as for PPI, at the moment, it's nothing else but patronage. But well, I believe somebody from the board would be eager to join the committee, and well, should contact Alex, as he's the head of organization, as he's so to say the Mr. Pirate Security Conference.
Yes, that's exactly what I said. We already have a committee that's organizing the conference.
Okay, thanks, guys. Ray and then Keith.
I sit corrected, as this board has not been informed about there actually being a committee and stuff and not been invited. I wasn't aware of it. Your arguments are really well taken. And when, I shouldn't say if, but when we decide to go ahead, then us participating in the actual committee that is ongoing would be the most effective way of doing it. Thank you, guys.
Okay, and so just to follow up on that, I think we should ask right now which of our members would like to join the PSC committee, and we can ask Alex if and when we can join.
Yeah, for sure. I also like the idea of a couple of us or one of us or however many want to go to their meeting rather than getting them to come to our meeting. I will actually put my name forward for that. I would be happy to go to one of their meetings.
Okay, I will also try to join.
All right, excellent, guys. So let me see where we're at now.
We are at
I'm just giving Keith a couple minutes to do the notes there.
No need to wait for me. Keep going.
Okay, so does anybody else have any questions or comments? Anything else for the discussion? Right?
So this agenda item was proposed by me, basically to learn as much as, so the board could learn as much as they could. This is how I see the world. We have a board decision earlier, a while back, that says we'll be a patron for the organization. All the while on the call for papers, it says that we organize it. Is everybody happy with the fact that it says that we're going to organize it, see it as not a problem, or do we need to formalize that in a board decision? Question mark.
If I could just answer, I think it's a little bit irrelevant, but I mean, if we want to be specific, I'm sure we can ask the PSC organizers to revise that line that PPI is one of the organizers.
Well, the line is the PSC is organized by, and then there's a list of 3 organizers. So that is already the case.
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier, and yeah, we are one of a few different organizations. So yeah, Keith, just to repeat what Keith is saying in the notes. So Keith is going to write a message to Alex to confirm their meeting time and the fact that a couple of us will be attending. anything else on that? Ray?
Well, I must be not be clear. As it was noted by one of my colleagues, it already states that PPI is organizing it, but I'm stating that we are not organizing it. We are patrons. That was my point.
Well, paying for something is also organizing. Unless it's just pure sponsorship.
Are we organizing the conference, or are we being patrons?
Just to interject, generally speaking, patrons finance and organizers do the work of organizing it. So they are actually two very different things.
Yeah, I would just like the minutes to reflect that we maybe we agree that it's just a linguistical problem, but that we are patrons, we are not the organizers. If the minute states that, then I retract my proposal for agenda item, issue number 392.
Okay, I mean, I think that from my understanding, PPI has been attached to this for a few years now, and you know, as supporters of it, patrons, whatever you want to call it, but like I don't think that the organization part, I mean, yeah, we could take a formal decision about it, but I think that I think we're okay. Like, I think that the way that they've been doing it for a few years now, like, like, what do you mean by organizing, Ray? Like, because I don't remember PPI ever being placed with any kind of actual organization responsibility. Like, we're supporters, patrons, you know, our name is attached to it. Obviously, like, we're part of this conference in that sense, but if what you mean by organizing is having to do work for it, I don't remember us ever actually being placed with that kind of responsibility. Like, is that what you're referring to? Is doing work for it?
Organizing a conference means coordinating it, financing it, shaping it, doing the actual work, organizing it. In my world, that's the English. As I said, I proposed issue number 392. It states, it lets us choose between either we're organizing it or we are simply patrons. But if the minutes here can state the following, PPI are patrons of the Pirate Security Conference and does not organize it, then I will retract my proposal for agenda item, and we can move on.
I would also like to give the following thought, that it's all valid what Ray said, absolutely. But actually, why is PPI involved at all? Not beside of that, supporting this idea of having a conference, is also to have some kind of event on record, to be able to present in case we are going looking for some public subsidy money or private subsidy money, grants or anything. We can say, look, this is the list of events we already done. And if we are just a patrons, I'm not sure if it has the same weight in the application as if we can claim we actually organize something, even if we not done much.
That is a very good point, and as long as this board is aware of the differences between patronage and organizing, we should be fine. As such, I retract my comment in line 113 and my proposal, and we can move on. Is that all right by everybody?
Okay, so is everybody on the same page now? Okay, I think that this will be a really positive thing. I think that PSC is a really positive thing, and I think it's very good that PPI is attached to it in whatever way we're able to be attached to it, right? Whether it's being patron or you know, helping with the organizing, whatever. This is a good thing. This is a very good project, and you know, we will absolutely do what we can. And I think the next step is Keith and I and whoever wants to join us going to their organizing meeting and seeing exactly what they need from us and taking it from there. But you know, let's try and be positive about it, because this is you know, like I said, it's a very good project, and I think it will be really, really, really positive for the entire community.
I formally propose we move on to the next, but let me say that I was never, will never be negative to the participation in the Pirate Security Conference. It's important in a lot of different ways, and it has a history. This was never about that. This was about us having a formal decision to be patrons, and then seeing that we are described as organizers without understanding why those words were chosen. I wanted us to formalize that we were actually going to organize it or be patrons of it. So I'm all good. I was always all good. Thank you. Can I have a second on moving on to the next?
Second.
Okay, guys, so let's move on. So to confirm, Ray, was it from line 136 that you wanted to retract? You don't want to address that anymore here?
So we have now been dealing with item 392, which starts at line 103, which is a discussion about the Pirate Security Conference. We have now discussed it, and whatever reservations I have been removed by having been given more information. So we can now move on to the next agenda item if everybody supports that.
Second.
Sorry, I think I got confused. So we're on, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not getting confused by the minutes here, we are on line 147, think twice. Okay, yeah, let's do it then. Think twice for discussion. Line 147 in the pad. Ray, this is yours.
This is issue 393 in Redmine, and I have seen talk about think twice for next year. I haven't heard much about it, and it hasn't been formally discussed or decided in a board meeting. So I would just like to hear from those that have been thinking about think twice and what it entails, so that the board can formally decide to actually have a think twice for. And again, this is the same thing. I'm not against anything at all. I just want to have a little bit more information so we can have an informed decision. And number two, I would like a decision to actually go through with it, and all the any financial and workload attached to it. Thank you.
Can I present this?
Yep.
Okay, so Think Twice 4 is based on some informal conversations Ladislav and I had. And we just briefed it informally with numerous members of the Czech Pirates, very senior members, in fact. And basically, we thought, what a great idea to host it in Prague. But we're still in a very sort of early phase of discussing it. I think we need to form a standing committee that will work on organizing a theme and other logistic issues. And then in perhaps the next board meeting, we can formalize a decision whether to officially support this proposal.
Yes, so therefore, I prepared a text that we can now edit to include the way you spoke about it, Keith. It says, PPI intends to author a plan that includes description, budget, resources, and responsibility for TT4 so that an informed decision can be made. And then it mentions the offer from PPZZ. I would like us to vote on that after we edit the text. Keith, maybe you want to make some changes in it?
If I may only add to this, as Keith has mentioned, this has been an informal discussion with the leadership of PPCZ. So I think that the right way would be to approach PPCZ officially and to see whether they confirm in writing what they were stating regarding the provision of the meeting space and so on.
Absolutely. I love all of this.
Yeah, Gregory here. I also spoke with Keith in Munich about the Think Twice organizing conference, and we spoke afterwards with Alex from the Foundation 42, and we have a general understanding to support the organization of Think Twice, the next Think Twice conference, and to make it at least as successful as the Frankfurt one we had. So should PPI want to go forward with that, sorry, Mike, and Foundation 42 would like to be co-organizing it.
Two quick things. I would like to ask Gregory to, if there is such a thing as a link or a URL to the German Foundation 42, I would be happy to read about it, and thank you for the good news. Number two, Ladislav mentioned how this was an informal discussion, which is why the proposed text says, after decision is made, we'll pursue an offer from PPZZ. That means, by pursue, I mean sending an official request to PPZZ. I hope that's okay, Ladislav.
Well, it's again, PPZZ, as I understand the informal discussion, that PPZZ is ready to host a Think Twice conference. The question is actually who is organizing it, who is doing the organizational committee and the selecting the talks, etc., etc. And if it like we asked the PPZZ for conducting the conference or for hosting it. So should they organize the whole thing or just the logistic?
I think that's a really good point, and I think that will become clearer as soon as a plan is authored.
Thanks, Ray. I'm fine with what you were saying, and I guess that's a step further ahead of us. Should PPCZ officially agree to participate in this project?
Awesome, guys.
I'll just say that the proposed text is completely consistent with Guillaume's thoughts on this matter.
Even better.
So I don't think we'd really need to vote on this, but maybe we can get names of volunteers as before of people who would like to perhaps be involved in a working group that can communicate with PPCZ and Foundation 42 and any other organizers or potential organizers.
I think it would be good to have a decision on the proposed text, so that not only us but anybody that visits our wiki now or 2 years from now can see what we base our work on. So I would like to have a vote on that. After any vote, we decide to do anything, it is always a good thing to actually find people responsible for actually doing it. So when we have a decision, we should absolutely, like Keith says, find those that are interested in being on the committee. Thank you.
Okay, so is everybody good with doing a vote on this one? Anybody opposed, I should say? No? Okay, I'll take that as a signal that everybody is fine with that. So I will just read the proposed text. PPI intends, through a working group, a standing committee on conferences, to author a plan that includes description, budget, resources, and responsibilities for TT4 so that an informed decision can be made. The board will, after a decision is made, pursue an offer from the Czech Pirate Party dated November 14th, 2018 to host TT4 in Prague.
Can I just update that to an informal offer since it hasn't been formalized?
Yeah, of course.
Go right ahead.
An approximate timing would be nice. We discussed fall 2019 in that informal discussion.
Sorry, Ladislav, can you repeat that?
I think it would make sense to include an approximate timing of the conference as well, which I haven't heard. And we discussed fall of 2019 in that informal discussion. Yeah, great. Thanks.
Okay, excellent point. So fall of 2019, perhaps in October. Ray just confirmed with me that as the author of this proposal, he is all for that. Fine with the edit, I mean.
I propose we move on to a vote. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, guys, go ahead and vote. Line 162, 63, 64. Awesome. Passed unanimously. Okay, so on line 168, it says that Keith is responsible, or proposed to be the responsible person. Keith Goldstein will lead the work to pen a plan that can form the basis for a board decision. We just made the board decision.
No.
Anyway, I'll be responsible for organizing the informal conversations, okay?
Yes.
Just so I'm clear here, we decided to form a working group, make a plan, and then decide whether or not to hold TT4, to organize TT4. This is who lead. What we're discussing now is line 168. Is who will lead that work? Who will be the boss man we can all talk to about it, and which name appears in Redmine. So if Keith accepts, I will put that into proposal 393.
Can I ask as well that perhaps Mike and Ladislav as well, who are more closely in relations with PPCZ, to join that?
Yes, there's always only one responsible for anything, but of course you should make sure that you have a lot of help doing that, but you'll have to be the boss.
I agree with Keith being the boss, and I'm absolutely 100% on board and will help him any way I can.
I'll try to steer it the right direction from this one as well. So I'll be of assistance to Keith in that regard too, like Mike.
Okay, great. We'll settle the rest of this in an email. So I think we can move on. Any other?
Sorry, Keith, can you repeat that?
I think we're okay then. So next item.
Yes, all right. Great, everybody. Sounds good. So next item, we're at line 170 in the pad. Change to the board, our rules of procedure. So that's, yeah, okay. I get mixed up. Yeah, okay. So change to the board rules of procedure. This is Ray's item.
Yes, it says change to the board ROP number 1 because I'm suggesting 2 changes to the ROP. And you will please have to forgive me if I'm not good enough with statutes. I hope that we are allowed as a board with a simple majority to make this decision. Somebody will have to help me if I'm wrong. Let me do the first ROP suggestion. This is, hold on. So our ROP now states in paragraph 5.3 that if there are only 3 board members present at a meeting, if all of them votes for a case, then it becomes quorum. And I think the way we are set up now with board members, with alternate board members, we have a much better chance of reaching quorum. I cannot think of a time in the last year that we haven't reached quorum. We do not need to have a rule that says that 3 can decide, a minority can decide on an agenda item. So I'm proposing that we delete the part about 3 people being able to vote on behalf of 7.
Okay, thank you, Ray. Thoughts, everybody?
Well, I absolutely have no opinion. Just want to give you some historical background. This was introduced about like 5 years ago, as we had a board where before we had the alternate board member system, I think, but we had a lot of people dropped out actually, and we had a hard time to maintain a quorum of 4 people, and it was either that or like just not making any decisions at all, and actually like discouraging people who still came to the meetings and want to do the work, or just doing informal stuff, and it was not really a solution. So back then we decided to go that way, and it helped us to actually to make any decisions back in that days. Today, as we have the full attendance, I don't think that there's a real need for keep it right now. It's more of a safe space, fail safe if something happens to the large parts of the board.
Okay, thank you, Gregory, for the background info. Does anybody have any other thoughts on that before we go to a possible vote? Ray, do you have any? Sorry, go ahead.
I'll just interact. My other comment is just that as well, when we have most meetings, we actually only do have a quorum of 3 or 4 members present. Occasionally, where one member gets a proxy vote or so, but this rule, I think, is still extremely relevant for us to accomplish things.
Yes, it might be relevant sometime in the future if 4 alternate board members does not show up and the board members not showing up decides not to give away proxy. So there are 2 ways of securing quorum when there are few board members there. One is that we make sure that we proxy when we cannot be there, and the other is that we have 4 alternate board members. What I wish to avoid is a situation where an important decision, especially on the use of money, gets made with only 3 board members present. That goes against democracy as I see it. This happened December, as an example, and the reason for why I suggested this, that happened on December 28th, 2017. There was a decision to be a patron for a Pirate Security Conference. Only 3 other board members were present. As I never read that, I didn't actually know that the decision was made. So I don't really think we need it the way we are set up now. And as somebody being a part of a halfway political organization, I see it as my job to delete and remove statutes and rules that are well, superfluous. And I see now that there is a point of order that 4 were present. Dan seemed to have gotten Bailey's vote, but he was not registered according to the minutes as voting. But I take the point. Anyway, I would like to, if nobody has any more comments, I would like to propose that we move to a vote.
In case you're looking for second, then second.
Yeah, go ahead and vote, guys. So PPI's Rules of Procedure, Section 5.3 shall be deleted so that a minority cannot decide on behalf of the board.
What a split.
Okay, awesome, guys. Motion is passed. Yes 4, no 1, and 2 abstentions. Thank you. Any other questions or comments about that before we move on?
Just one comment. I think we need to replace it with something that clarifies the rules.
Fair enough. Why don't you give that some thought and maybe propose something at the next meeting?
Okay.
If you feel like it, just suggestion.
Just so you know, Keith, I think that it can do without any addition because establishment of quorum is covered in it. But if I'm wrong, feel free to bring it up as a agenda item the next time. I propose we move on to the next agenda item.
Okay. Anybody opposed to moving on? No? All right. Let's move on then. Now we are on line 194. Change to the board rules of procedure number 2, adding a minimum criteria for agenda items. And this is also proposed by Ray.
Yes, this is Redmine issue 395. The text there should make it clear. We've been running board meetings together for a couple of years now, and we have somehow that in all fairness includes me as much as anyone else, not done the preparation work that makes it possible for a board member to jump in at a board meeting and understand the background and history and the ramifications of what we decide. So I suggest adding minimum criteria for agenda items when we propose something and control something, so that also, and maybe most importantly, it is possible for anyone who visits the wiki tomorrow or 2 years from now to understand why we made a decision.
Thank you, Ray. Discussion.
Well, the paragraph 2, sentence 2 of the rules of procedures mention task pp.international.net project PPI board roadmap, which is not exists right now or not accessible, this URL. It should be fixed, as well as paragraph 5, sentence 5 is the same. So if we talk about that, it should be fixed. And also, the rules of procedure for the board's rules of procedure says every member of the Pirate Parties International can propose an agent item to the board, which is great. It never says actually how board members can add agenda items. And it also says not whose responsibility is it to publish the provisional agenda and so on.
So what you're saying is that we have several things we should fix?
Well, yeah. If you want to fix it, yeah. Otherwise, you have established like customs rules that just been like the custom, how you do it, and they seems to work most of the time. So,
Proposal. Gregory, would you be opposed to actually propose a cleaning up of this for the next board meeting? If so, then I will propose that this issue 395 be postponed until such a date where a better text can be made.
okay, I'm agree. Yeah, I can
Okay.
do the revision. Yeah, propose a revision.
That includes maybe writing a better proposed text regarding what should be in an agenda item.
Can you please explain what you think is missing right now?
Okay, so if anybody walking backwards from our minutes will see that there's usually one line, and no links, and no description of why, or no reasoning for what we're discussing, so that it's impossible to see how we got to our decision and to our voting. So when somebody proposes an issue, there should be a minimum of amount of information surrounding the actual issue, so that a decision, informed decision, can be made. So line 211 in the pad now basically describes what I think is missing in many cases, have been missing in many cases. But we can discuss that.
I just want to give you to consideration that if somebody is not following this format, that probably still be admitted to as an agenda item, right?
Yes, my proposed text in line 211 says when natural, so that gives a full open door to proposing in any shape, way, or form that you wish to.
I'm not sure that it should be in the rules of procedure anyway, but it should be a good practice to do it anyway. As I agree with you that the proposed agenda item should contain a reasoning and all the necessary background information to deal with it. And probably also this should be included in the minutes. I think that what is also missing actually is kind of a list of board decisions, so like numbered. So we have decisions in the wiki, we have a list of decisions of the General Assembly, but if somebody wants to know how the board decided, for example, on Think Twice or whatever, or Paris Security Conference, or whatever points you want to bring up, they have only the option to go all the minutes one by one and look through them. And so probably it should be good to publish the decision separately in a kind of list, parallel to the minutes. And these decisions should not necessarily include the reasoning, but just the decisions, especially the financial relevant decisions should be marked as financial relevant. I can give you example how Pirate Party Germany do it, for example. So I will try to propose something.
Good. So I wish to postpone my agenda item, which is Red Mine 395, so that I can work a little bit with Dichter for the next meeting or the meeting after that. Can I have a second on that?
Second. And testing my cell phone.
Okay. Thanks, guys. So we'll tackle that at the next meeting then. Is everybody good to move on?
Yes.
All right, so that brings us to line 223, electing positions. So we need to elect a treasurer and another general secretary.
May I?
Yeah.
We kind of talked about it last week with Keith on Friday in Prague. That if nobody really wants the treasurer position, I'm kind of willing to do it, but I will need a lot of help.
Okay, cool. Thank you for putting your name forward. Does anybody else want to put themselves up for the treasurer position?
I propose because he said that he would like a lot of help. I propose that we have an assistant treasurer or treasurer assistant or whatever, and see if we can have anyone willing to do that.
Sounds great.
Just a point of order, because I did the vice treasurer the past time, and I think it's a great idea. I discussed with Michael that we could perhaps split up the responsibilities between someone who's responsible for, say, affiliation fees, another person who's responsible for fundraising, and other issues. It's almost like we need a working group treasurer.
Well, in a judicial sense, there would have to be one treasurer. How the work is divided between the treasurer and the vice treasurer is a different matter, but there would have to be one responsible treasurer.
Of course, I think we get that.
Does anybody feel that they could be Mike's vice treasurer?
I will be a vice treasurer since I've been involved in this for 3 years, but I would appreciate we had one other person that would be more active.
Forgive me, we have several suggestions here. One is we have to elect a treasurer. Then we suggest that there is also a vice treasurer. Are you suggesting that we have a vice treasurer to elect too?
I'm suggesting 2 vice treasurers.
Is anybody else interested in being a vice treasurer?
I suggest that the vice treasurer or the 2 vice treasurers are not positions that have to be elected. I submit that I think the treasurer can anoint as many vice treasurers as he likes at any given time. Am I wrong in thinking that is the way to go?
Or as she likes.
Yes, that's what we did last year.
Okay, so I guess we elect a treasurer, and then the person who gets elected as treasurer will be able to bring on whoever they see fit as somebody who could assist them as vice treasurer, 1 or 2 people, however many they need, the way that I see it anyway. Mike has put his name forward as a candidate for treasurer. Does anybody else want to do the same, put their name forward for this, or should we just go to a vote? Okay, Ray suggests a vote. Anybody second that?
Second.
Okay, everybody go ahead and vote. Mike is our candidate for treasurer. Go ahead and, yeah, just go ahead and vote. Okay, so the vote for treasurer is finished, and it looks like Mike is our treasurer. Congrats, Mike. Thank you.
Thanks, and Keith can definitely consider himself appointed to be vice treasurer as of the moment.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, anytime you guys need help from the rest of the board, you know that you can always reach out. Like, I mean, personally, I'm not that well versed on like the financial stuff, but like, you know, I'll always do my best to help out, and I know that the rest of the board will. So I mean, yeah, just never hesitate to ask for help if you need it.
I just add the comment, we could probably use help from someone outside the board to be on this sort of standing committee in helping out the treasurer.
And no problem with that. If anybody would like, he's welcome, or she's welcome.
Yeah, you guys go about that however you see fit. All right, shall we move on? Okay, so now, sorry.
Wait a second, I would like to address the point we already handled with the revision of the rules of procedure. I cannot promise to deliver it for the next meeting because next meeting will be on the 2nd of December, where I will be in Iceland for the Pirate Party of Europe Council meeting, which will be ongoing in parallel. So I will be not participating in the next board meeting. Can we move it to the one after that?
Yes, that's why I said the next board meeting or the meeting after that. I will also be present in Iceland with Bailey, by the way.
Remotely.
Looking forward to see you guys.
Okay, shall we move on to elect a general secretary? Ray seconds that. Okay, so our candidate for general secretary is Keith Goldstein. Yeah, is that should we just go to a vote, or does anybody else want to say anything?
We just did.
Yeah, I guess everybody's already voting, eh? Yeah, go ahead. All right, yeah, Keith is our general secretary. Congrats, Keith.
Thank you.
Commiserations, Keith.
I put this in here on vice secretaries because it's something that we discussed but never really voted on. If anyone has any comments on that, please let me know.
I think it's a good idea to have shadows on every position or official, pulling resources from all the 12 people that wanted to run for the board positions and anybody else is a good idea. I have this proposal that is brewing inside of me, something from our Swedish pirates, which is everybody has a shadow official. I haven't been able to pen it yet, but it will most certainly afflict your thinking here, Keith. But maybe you can just appoint a shadow secretary or a vice secretary as you see fit.
Can I appoint someone from outside the board? Is that not a problem?
Go for it.
I don't see it as a problem at all. We should pull in as many people as we can in all kinds of positions now that we, have a positive outlook on actually building the grassroots up again.
Absolutely.
Okay, the vice secretaries, though, as well, was being more than just a shadow, but separate board members who could take responsibility of things like revisions of statutes or ECOSOC and international NGO activities, as you see that we wrote in the discourse, and lines 256 and 258.
My personal position is you can do as you see fit, making yourself more effective as long as it does not erode the responsibility of the position of General Secretary.
Well, the position here is that we appoint someone to be responsible for ECOSOC and international NGO activities so that it isn't entirely my responsibility?
Forgive me. I maybe we have different. We are thinking about different things, but what I mean, but so that it doesn't. What I mean by the word "so that it doesn't erode responsibility," means that if you appoint somebody to deal with, as a vice secretary, to deal with ECOSOC, that does not mean that you are not ultimately responsible for what that person does. There must always be somebody responsible. As long as that's okay, I'm okay with you appointing anybody from inside or outside.
Okay, so just to clarify, you would like me to appoint people to take responsibility rather than us voting on people who nominate themselves?
Yes, I think that when you are a member of the board, then you fulfill your board duties. When you, in addition to that, put on the different hat called general secretary, you, as general secretary, you are in the administration below the board, and as such report to the board. And as the general secretary, you can hire or appoint anyone you want. I don't think we have to have a democracy surrounding that. That would be wrong, in my opinion, or in my understanding of organizational culture.
Agreed. As far as we're going to build some hierarchy, this is the good place to start, probably.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Then I will, for our next board meeting, between the time of our next board, and communicate with people about these standing committees and try and get people who will take responsible as the vice secretary for them.
If you want, I can handle the standing committee for statutes revision, as it was my ID.
That would be wonderful, especially as that is not the most popular committee. Thank you very much, Etienne.
Keith, could you add a word in line 239? Keith is appointed by the treasurer to be vice treasurer.
Do it.
Okay, so just a point of order. I think we can now skip to line 264.
Okay, sounds good. Everybody's ready to move on. We are on line 264, and that is board meeting location, test Discord, and this is Etienne's item.
Yes, so it's a simple proposition, like we will technically decided which tool we will use for board meeting, and there is 3 tools on the list: Mumble, Zoom, and Discord. But like we already test 2 of them, Mumble and Zoom, I propose to test Discord at least twice and then make a choice. Like this, we run a test on all the tools before to make a choice.
I second this proposal.
And if we don't want to create a specific PPI Discord server for simplicity, we can use French Discord if you want. But we can create a specific server for PPI. It's not complicated to do, and I can do it. as you wish.
I think a dedicated server have a advantage of being able to install plugins independent of discussing them with party friends.
Yes, I think that what Etienne is proposing, that during the test we use the French Discord installation so that we see whether or not we will go for it. If we don't go for it, we shouldn't have spent the time actually installing it.
That's it.
Yes,
it wasn't really clear.
In my experience, people always want some plugins also to test, also in the test phase.
I can say that actually we have, if we want a plugin to record the meeting, we have one. And I think that's all we need for a basic test. Because we register on Zoom, we register on Mumble, and we can do it on the French Discord. We have a specific bot for recording meeting.
Point of order. Naturally, it follows that if we decide to vote on Etienne's proposal, it will affect the next agenda item, which is why the next agenda item has as one of his proposed texts to first test the Discord with 2 board meetings and then postpone the actual agenda item that covers choosing between Mumble, Zoom, and Discord. So voting, if the board votes yes here, it means automatically that the next agenda item gets postponed until the test is over.
Any questions or comments on that before we vote?
And if we decided to run a test before to choose, I can be responsible for it, and I will send you an email with the link to the French server and some instruction in order to help you.
All right, that sounds good. Shall we go to a vote? Ray seconds that. Okay, yes, so before we choose the meeting Before we choose the meeting tool, the board will meet on Discord twice before to proceed to the vote of the board meeting location. Yeah, okay. Okay, I guess I forgot to say to vote, but obviously everybody knew we were voting. Okay, motion passed. Awesome, guys. So the next meeting will be on Discord then, and Etienne will hook us up with all the info we need. And then the next item, board meeting location at 285, we're going to postpone this one until after we've tested Discord, which will be 3 meetings from now, since we're using Discord for the next 2. After those 2 meetings, possibly in the new year, actually, that's when we'll make our final decision on which tool to use going forward.
So can I just have a point of order? For the next board meeting, we will meet again on Mumble unless we hear from our Discord committee that they have a test ready.
Well, the plan right now is that we will be meeting on Discord, that we will have all of the information we need to get hooked up with Discord before the next meeting. So yeah, I would assume like the opposite of what you just said. So next meeting is on Discord. If for whatever reason we don't get the info from Etienne or from Cedric, then I guess we'll have to come back to Mumble. But I would say like we've made a decision now that Discord is the next meeting and the meeting after that.
Okay, I've played that line 300 indicates that we will be meeting on Discord unless we receive information.
Line 300 is seconded.
Okay, good stuff, guys. Are we ready to move on?
Yes.
Take that as yes. All right, awesome. So now we're on line 303. And this is the ECOSOC. ECOSOC, yep.
Yeah, this is actually the Committee for Social Development, which is affiliated with ECOSOC, and we have an opportunity to speak on the floor of the United Nations ECOSOC Chamber in February. Our application is due January 7th. The speech must be based on the statement that we submitted. I can put a link into that statement, but in general, we have 3 representatives in New York that can make that statement, and this is more of just an announcement. I don't think, unless anyone feels that we should vote on whether to make the statement.
No, this is an information item, so I don't think we have to vote.
No, this is awesome.
May I ask, Keith, so the submission has been already made with the paper in its current form?
Yes, the submission was already made, and we're talking here about a statement of something like 3 to 4 minutes.
Which would be, you're saying, based on the paper?
Yes, they're very specific to that.
Because I've been studying the website yesterday, and I noticed that there's actually specifically defined topics which I wasn't completely aware of as I was assisting towards a formulation of the statement, and I wasn't sure 100% while reading yesterday that our paper actually fits smoothly in. Could you comment on that, please?
So the statement was social inclusion, and we went through prior statements made by NGOs for the prior year when making our statement. It's a bit of a vague statement, but that was the main theme, was social inclusion, and maybe what PPI is doing for the sake of social inclusion. And so we tried as best possible to stick to that goal in our statement, and again, the focus of the speech itself will have to be much shorter and concise, and we should review that statement.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Anything else on that? Questions? Sorry.
Sorry, my bad. Just to mention that I'd be interested in joining the team, since I've actually worked with several UN field missions, while I never took the chance to have business in the headquarters. So.
Okay, great. So I will make a link between Ladislav and our New York ECOSOC team, and they can hopefully a written minutes they want to speak, and we'll work on getting their submission in by January 7th.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Anything else on this item? No? All right, is everybody good to move on?
Yes.
Excellent. So that brings us to line 335, board decision, tasks, voting organization tool, proposed by Keith.
3:30.
Oh, did I miss some? I missed something. I'm sorry. Sorry, yeah. Okay, so we're actually at 313.
Point of order. According to the rules of procedure that we discussed previously, in paragraph 1(4), that says that if a meeting goes over 1 hour and 30 minutes, there should be a 15 minutes break, which will be in 2 minutes time. So should we, with 1 minute time from now on, should we move in it 1 minute earlier and take the 15 minutes break now instead of interrupting in the middle of agenda item?
I'm okay with that. What does everybody think? 15-minute break?
Seconded.
I don't really need it, but no problem.
Well, it's in the rules of procedure.
Yeah, sure, but I agree.
Okay, so I think what do you guys want to do? So we have two options. I understand rules of procedure, but we can do what's best for us in this situation, I think. Do we want to take a 15-minute break now and then come back? Or do you want to just keep going through and then we'll probably finish the meeting within half an hour, I would think. What do you guys, we'll do whatever you want.
Let's take 15 minutes. I'm going to go get coffee.
Okay, 15-minute break. So come back at 10 to 4.
Yes, Madam Chair. We could pause the recording for that time, I guess.
Everyone back?
No, I think we have a couple of minutes.
I'm here.
I'm back.
Okay, is everybody here?
I'm here.
Could I just get a signal from each of you that you're here?
Here.
Yeah.
Signal.
Present.
Vladislav, are you here?
Yes, sorry, I'm back.
Okay, so I think we've got everybody. All right, I'm going to ask Ray to start the recording again. And we're back. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a good little break there. So we are on line 315, funding for UN and other NGO projects. Keith, is this your item here?
This, I guess, is, or I hope it's not just my item, but we had a few proposals for funding projects that we can do through the Geneva government, the Swiss government, various UN affiliated donors and whatnot. I think there's not really much to discuss here, but just to state that we need to create working groups on each of these 4 points.
So is this a information item, or is there a decision you would like the board to make here?
This is an information item and a call for volunteers to create working groups.
I think this would be a good item, maybe to propose to discuss between the two of us when we meet, and inform about it next time.
I can second that.
Awesome. Anybody else have any comments or questions?
If I may, it in general reflects fundraising, no? So it'd be nice to have it somewhere to work at least, so that we know what we're speaking about, because we're not getting funding for you, and we want to get funding from you. And
All right. Anything else? Okay, I guess if there's nothing else to say about this item, then we should move on. Is everybody good with that?
Okay.
All right, we will move on then. So now line 342, board decision tasks voting organization tool.
If I may, before Keith speak, I'd like to say that there is a decision 399 in Redmine that is proposed by Cedric, who asks the permission of the board to install Congressus and have access to the information system. I will link the issue on the pad.
Awesome, thank you.
Keith, if you don't mind, I don't think the board is ready to decide what tool to use yet. As of now, we're using Redmine, and there are other opportunities like Lumio, Discourse, or Congressus that we can discuss. But I don't think the board today is ready to actually decide on it. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I can agree with that. So just without a vote, we're going to decide we'll continue with Redmine and give, and we'll vote now on giving Cedric access to install Congressus and other tools.
Yes, just so you know, Cedric and Etienne, you will have to talk to Bastian about getting access, and that you can do without actually having a board vote. We cannot vote that something is possible to install on our infrastructure. The way it has to work is asking Bastian if it's possible, and then we can vote on what to use at a later date.
I think that Cedric asked for votes because he needs to install himself without Bastian intermediate. Oh, sorry. I tried to find my my ideas. So Cedric would like to install himself Congressus on the information system, and he can do that with Bastian, but Bastian can't do it by himself. So that's it's better if he has an formal authorization of the board to interfere in the tech team area. I'm not sure if I'm clear or not.
Let me try by way of a question. You're asking the board to authorize root access to the servers, yes?
Yes.
Well, then we should reformulate it a little bit, maybe. Well, I think we can say that the board is positive to Cedric having root access to the IT infrastructure, but that will have to be a dialogue between Bastian and his other IT personnel.
Yes, agree. The goal is to have like a formal agreement of the board that someone who isn't part of the tech team can access to the server.
Yep.
Would you like me to try to make a little bit simpler text in the proposed action?
Yes, please.
Or maybe a proposed text to vote on. Okay, I will give it my best shot. Can someone help me with the word authorization? So that is my best effort. Feel free, anybody, to edit where you see fit.
Can I add something to this discussion, please?
Yeah.
I would like to say that for future maintainability, it's usually not a good idea to give the developer the root access or make the developer the only one who can install, properly understand how it's installed. So I think it would be ideal if the documentation is up to that level that Bastian can install it without Cedric actually having to be root.
Okay, good that this feedback is here. Now I see that there is a chat, and the chat is by Bastian, who is present. He says strictly no way. You can have your own VM, and we monitor it. Otherwise, we will step down ASAP. So there is the tech team is signaling a strong opposition to such a proposal. Maybe Bastian could help us out. How should we go about this? How should Cedric and the board go about this?
Bastian is explaining that you need a virtual machine and that he can monitor. And that's actually a really excellent idea.
May I suggest that Bastian writes a proposed text so that Cedric and our French comrades can have almost what they need?
I have a question to Cedric. If this software can be partialized by Docker or similar technologies?
I'm sorry, but I think Cedric have some issues using Mumble with his computer. That's why I'm a little bit lost with a technological question, because it's not my cup of tea. So if you have question, I think the best way is to send him an email and he will respond. And that's it.
The point of a virtual machine is that you have your own unique environment, and Cedric can have complete control over the virtual machine, including root access. But he won't have access to the actual server itself, which would be unnecessary because he could install everything in the virtual machine.
I trust you because I'm completely lost with those questions.
I worked in IT for quite a few years.
Okay. So obviously our tech team is very much against giving Cedric root access to the server. I like the virtual machine idea personally as well. Why don't we just amend the proposal to reflect that? Install a virtual machine and then Cedric can use that and we can test Congressus that way. What do you guys think?
I'm fine with it.
I will change the proposed text, but since we haven't heard from Cedric, there might be a reason why he's asking for root instead of a VM, or he might be just fine with it. So the board will have to adapt to whatever happens in the conversation between Cedric and the tech team, making sure that both parties are good with what we choose. I will now try to edit the text, and again, feel free to help me.
I think the VM is enough, and if necessary, we can start with this, and if necessary, we can decide something else at the next meeting.
Well, I was also going to suggest, I mean, not that the virtual machine idea is bad, obviously, like I'm all for it, but you know, we could also maybe let Cedric and Bastian talk about this and you know, make that decision together on how to move forward with it. And then we make a decision later when they have kind of come up with their decision. Just a thought.
So the way I formulated line 361 now is that the board does not instruct the tech team to do anything. We are asking the tech team to give Cedric a VM environment for the purposes of installing. How does Bastian and the other tech-savvy people feel about that proposal?
He comments he has no mic today, so but he writes that the VM is okay.
So, so our tech team is okay with the proposed text. I formally suggest that we simply vote on this to give Cedric the necessary backing to move forward, a signal, if you will.
Okay, so the board has decided to ask the tech team of PPI to give Cedric a virtual machine environment for the purposes of installing Congressus. Why don't we go ahead and vote?
This
Okay, the motion has passed. Thanks, guys. Any comments or anything before we move on? Okay, let's move on then.
Sorry, Cedric just sent me a message to tell me that it's the VM is enough for the moment.
Awesome. Okay, that's great. So now we move on to line 381. Any other business?
Yeah, if I can take over for line 383.
Yep.
So business cards, Ohad Bar Siman Tov, our ECOSOC New York representative, designed business cards for us for those purposes. So if anyone would require a format for business cards, please let me know. In fact, I will probably email that format to all of you. Printing them is on your own volition.
Sign me up.
Okay, great. Thank you, Keith.
I would highlight that it's really important to have those business cards to network when you go to places. For myself as well, and I have not printed them, so I'm also guilty of not doing this. I will also be printing them out and probably cutting them myself to make it cheap.
Great idea. Please send it to all of us. Thanks.
Okay, line 386. Can we confirm that we have updated the board email, lay auditor, and COA, and that everyone is receiving emails?
I'm pretty sure that board emails are working properly.
They seem to be, yeah.
Kitty Hundal, have you received the setup for your PPI account? Are you receiving email to it?
No, I haven't received anything yet. I'm getting all my emails at my Proton Mail account.
So if we could somehow ask the tech team to inform, well, actually all of us on how we set up our board email. So Kitty, in line number 400, you could note that you haven't got the setup for your PPI email.
Ladislav, do you have a PPI email yet?
I was just gonna say that perhaps I overlooked an email, or I don't recall seeing an instruction how to do it. I don't have one. Thanks for asking.
I don't have an access to any actual email, but definitely the forwarding to my personal address works. So that's perfectly enough for me.
For your information, Kitty, we moved from Gmail on the PPI emails to another type of installation, and you never got the setup for that. And that same goes for the Court of Arbitration, lay auditors, and everybody. Nobody got that. So your old email, PPI email address, is the one that you will be setting up. You just need the setup. Also noted that Ladislav says that it's enough for him to get his emails forwarded. That means we do not need to set up a PPI email address for him.
I'm actually fine having them forwarded as well, but that's entirely up to you.
Yeah, we still need the setup.
Sorry, that was Mike saying it to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's correct that.
I don't actually care too much how it works. I mean, you don't really need to send emails on behalf of PPI that frequently, I guess. I don't know, forwarding seems to be just fine for me as well, like Kitty was saying.
Okay, but just to confirm, Ladislav and Mike, you both are getting the board emails, so, and Kitty as well.
Absolutely. And I just tested it and works perfectly fine. Even if I send an email from my personal email account and I added the PPI address as the sender, it looks like it was sent from the PPI address, so it works.
Mine does not work. I need to have the proper setup information in order to get it to work.
But are you getting the board emails? Are those are being forwarded to your Proton, correct?
Yes, that part is working fine. Everything is being forwarded to my Proton and there's no problem. It's the PPI email address, old email address that I have that is not working.
I do get the board emails, but I thought it was some kind of Google group involving my personal account only, but I never studied the header too much. It was just too much information.
Okay, anything else on that? Okay, let's move on then. So that brings us to line 410, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, 408.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, we need to update the PP leaders with the emails we received from the GA.
And more than just the GA, we need to kind of revive our PP leaders email list, since that is our main outsourcing for all of our announcements. And so I don't think we're going to resolve this in this meeting. I'm just going to put that out there that we might need a working group to do this, to recruit people who should be in our information list.
Yep, good point. Any questions or comments?
I intend to make a working group that deals with members and member data, that deals with all of this. And I don't have no idea how the PP leaders group works and how you get email addresses in there, which addresses are in there. But it's one of the things that I will embark on. But as I said, I will, when I get the time, establish a working group that deals with membership, communication and membership data.
I volunteer for that group as well, since it's up to me to get the money out of them now.
I have made a note of that, Mike, and I'm so happy we get the help. And I will also be asking Kitty Hundal to join us, making that happen.
I'm happy to do that, Ray.
Okay, and I also add that I do have access to our mailing list, so I do know who's on that list and how to add emails, and so I will also join with you and instructing how you can take over for that.
Such a nice working group.
Yes, I never said I would take over the PP leaders list. I have no relationship to leaders, and all the relationship I have with our email lists is that whenever we send out an email, we get 0 to 1 response from it. That's the only thing I know about these lists types thingies.
Okay, great, guys. Anything else on that before we move on? Okay, I'm just going to move us forward then. All right, so now we're at line 413. Gregory, did you want to speak on this?
Actually, I'm not sure who put it in the agenda. I talked to Keith in the GA that I know a cheaper way to get the DOA. It's a way to using, well, in a nutshell, it's a individual membership at organization that have a cross-ref reference included, like Open Access Scholarity Publishers Association. That is significantly cheaper than working with Crossref directly. And we are about to start our academic journal, and we could share the prefix that we obtained through OASP, provided it's no more than 50 DOIs per year, which should be okay for now. And if we have more, then we need to talk again.
May I ask what a DOI is?
It's an it's a descriptor, or sorry, the DOI is a document object identifier, and it's a stable URL. So every academic publication have a DOI, which is registered in some Crossref. It's a big database. So if you know a DOI of an article, you can always find it, including the place where it's currently hosted with the full text. And it's also used for citation and cross-references. So having an academic publication, a DOI is nowadays a requirement. Absolutely.
So our job.
So I'll just clarify, and this is kind of irrelevant for us to decide right now. This is just an initial discussion that we're having. But the idea is that we can put our proceedings from our conferences into a DOI and publish them officially in the future. I'd initially quoted a €250 cost, never approved. This is just investigation. Gregory has done us the favor of investigating further and found a cheaper way to do that. But we will keep talking about this, and then we'll make a formal proposal in the future.
But actually, €250 is the things that I am planning that to have, probably even lower than that. You had come up 2 years ago with a way that stated about €600 or something like that. So that should be cheaper than that. That's all I wanted to point you out before you go and spend money.
Okay, but that's good. I think we've just been open about our kind of idea here, and thank you again, Gregory, for doing that. So I'm fine if we move on.
All right, good stuff, guys. Line 417, podcasts.
I just put in some of our ongoing tasks here. We don't have to discuss them all today. Just everyone knows that we had started some podcasts. We never got them going. This would be another great working group we could start. But maybe this meeting is not the best continuation for that.
Yeah, maybe we'll leave podcasts and videos out of this meeting as far as like a discussion goes, unless anybody has something they want to say about it. Obviously, everybody's welcome to, but that's just my suggestion. I would like to see these things get started, you know, maybe in the new year or something, though. So it's good that it's there. Good that we keep thinking about it. Does anybody have any like questions or comments or anything about podcasts and video related stuff?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, there are a lot of things we could and should be doing until we know that we have the resources to do it. It's not too good talking about it, so I second the motion to push it until a more suitable time.
I thought we talked about with Kit in Prague that as long as we have a YouTube channel and somebody wants to record some conversation or interview with somebody interesting, why not start right away?
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we'll make sure that we keep thinking about those things and hopefully get something going soon. I guess we'll just move on then, if everybody's okay with that. Line 424, minutes review.
Yeah, I just see we have a comment. We have a YT channel either, right?
I thought we had a YouTube channel. I think we do have one.
Actually, that's a very good point coming up. And the YouTube channel, indeed, when we discovered in the GA that no one had the password to log in and stream our GA. Can anyone clarify who has the password to log in to the YouTube?
The YouTube channel, if you wanted to have access to it, it was just to walk over the 3.5 yards to me and you would have gotten access. It is connected to our main email address. We used to be Gmail, and any Gmail address that you log into in your browser, then you just open YouTube and then you can log in directly to the YouTube channel. That's how it works.
It's not entirely correct, but it's linked to the Google Plus site, and there's a managers invited and set up, and whoever wants to manage the YouTube channel, I'm have a management access to that, so I can add more people, and most people never accept the invitation. So this is like, or search for your email box you're invited for to host to manage the YouTube channel, and you will find an invitation that you need to accept. There's a lot of pending invitations there. But if you want, talk to me. We can, especially directly on the phone, and we can walk you through to get your access. And it not necessarily need to be a Gmail access. It is can work with any Google account, whatever you like, including the PPI hosted Google app at pp-international.net, whatever. You are acting as PPI. You are not acting as yourself if you manage the channel.
Okay, good stuff. All right, so that was YouTube.
I'm sorry, is anybody needs access to the, or want access to the PPI YouTube channel who does not have it yet?
I'm quite sure I don't have it, and so I could do it. Like, if anybody has anything to post there, or if there's any video to cut, I can do that.
Can you?
A lot of experience.
Please message me your email that you're using for a Google account.
We'll do that.
Can be here direct message in Mumble.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to do it because I'm already on the cell phone.
Okay, are we good to move on to the next item?
Second.
All right, line 430, minutes review.
So this is just a point, a reminder that we should go through our old minutes and kind of resurface any of the topics we were working on before. I know many of the board members are new, so prior to our next meeting, any of you can do it, kind of look over some of the prior board meeting minutes and see if there's anything that was unresolved.
Good idea. Okay, we'll just move on then. Line 432, UN ECOSOC and other NGO activities page on website. Keith, I assume this is yours?
Actually, it wasn't. Someone else made this comment, and I just put it on our minutes. But for the time being, I would actually be opposed to this just because I don't have enough information to put. The idea is we just have a new tab of ECOSOC and NGO activities. In the future, if we have enough information, I think it's a great idea. But it was just a comment that I received, and I'm not sure it's necessary right now. If anyone else has comments, so please.
Okay. So, okay, anybody have anything to say about the last point? All right, so before we close the meeting, does anybody have anything else at all that they want to say?
Yes, if you don't mind. We touched upon something earlier in the meeting regarding who has a vote, whether or not the alternates have a vote in the meeting or not. I think one of you suggested that the GA said something about alternates voting. It doesn't have to be resolved right away, but I would like a link to a description of that, so we know before the next board meeting whether or not alternates voting or can vote.
I'm sorry, guys, to interrupt. I'm not even sure if you heard me, but I'll lose the signal in like 1 minute. And if you could please discuss the timings of the meetings, because mid of the business days were difficult for me. Sorry to cut in.
Yeah, we do have to change the timing of some of the meetings. Personally, I would suggest that we don't have meetings on Mondays, at least not Monday during the day, because a lot of people are working then. I don't know if this is something we want to address at this meeting. Maybe next meeting we should do it. Yeah, what do you guys think?
Well, if you guys don't mind, I think 5 out of 7 are people that work during the day. So having any board meetings in the work week that is in the middle of the workday is counterproductive. And I think we should make that change as soon as possible, but we can postpone and have a full discussion about that if the next meeting is not on a Monday.
Which is not, the next meeting is Sunday at 9 p.m. So I think we can postpone this till the next meeting.
Yes, I second that we postpone it to the next meeting, and either Keith or I will, or Bailey will make sure that it ends up in the agenda. Thank you.
Sorry for cutting into you, Ray.
No. It's really good that you brought that up, because that was the thing we wanted to address anyway, and I think it just kind of got lost. So thank you. That was a good thing.
Talk to you later. I'm in a subway already. Bye.
So going back to about voting rights, does the alternate board members have voting rights or not? Or do they only have voting rights when they have received a proxy from a board member not present? I think it was Dichter who said that the GA had commented on this, and I would like to know if anybody else have heard something, because if they're supposed to have rights, we have to make sure that they get it, at least by the next board meeting. Thank you.
In my memories, that the GA said that the alternative board member can vote if one of the board member is missing, even if there is no proxy. I believe, but I'm not sure, that if a board member is absent to a meeting, an alternative board member can can act as a full board member even if there is no proxy decided. I'm not sure I'm clear. Sorry.
Thank you, Etienne. You're perfectly clear. Let's try to find where, if any place in the minute, this is declared. You can put, Keith, if you don't mind, you could put in responsible Ray for searching for that, investigating that, researching that, or whatever.
I believe it was during the last year GA. I'm not sure if it was the spring GA in May or the one after in November that was in Geneva. It's one of those both.
I'm pretty sure it's at Geneva, and I'm pasting the link to those minutes in the pad.
Well, I will head that investigative work. Just make a note of that in the minutes, please, and I will ask for help if I'm unable to find it. I think it's a good step forward if we actually manage to decide this.
Okay, so line 440, it shows the link to the minutes of the 2017 GA, and below that it says Ray will investigate this.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, anything else before we close the meeting? All right, I think that brings us to the end then, guys. Thank you all for being here. This was a pretty long meeting, and you all stuck it out. This is a very good meeting. Yeah, thank you all again. Our next meeting will be Sunday, December 2nd at 2100 hours Central European Time. And yeah, I hereby close this meeting.
Quick question: as the PPU council meeting finish at Sunday the 2nd, are we sure that everybody will be here? Because I know that that Ray and Bailey will be in Reykjavik.
I think the board meeting will be over by then, and we will be present. I can almost assure you that. Our priorities are very simple. If the Reykjavik meeting is not over by the time our board meeting starts, we will cut our engagement in Reykjavik down and be here.
Like, we're participating remotely anyway, so I mean, we'll be able to be present at this meeting for sure. I would think that the Reykjavik meeting would be over by that time. If it's not, then I think we'll find some way to adapt. But as of right now, that is the scheduled board meeting. If we want to talk about moving it sometime between now and then I think that that's possible if necessary, and that's something that we can discuss further. But yeah, for today's purposes, yeah, that's the next scheduled board meeting.
Okay. Have a nice end of afternoon, everybody, and see you next time.
Yeah, everybody.
I'm a free dead girl. 'Cause there is a sign behind the ghost. I'm driving for her. I know there's a sign when I feel that ghost. She's dreaming for me. 'Cause I have a crush on this ghost standing by me. They say I'm not alive, but I have a ghost. She's just holding me. Now I'm allowed. I made up my mouth and licked the ground, but not until they made it clean. I'm not becoming a dead, dirty girl. Now I'm allowed. They can tell me why indignity's a crime. I see a ghost and now I am becoming a dead, dirty girl. 'Cause there is a sign behind the ghost. I'm driving
stop the rock. Stop the rock. Stop the rock. Stop the rock. Can't stop the rock. You can't stop the rock. Stop the rock. Stop the rock. Stop the rock. Can't stop the rock. You can't stop the rock. Can't stop the rock. You can't stop the rock. Can't stop the rock. You can't stop the rock. Can't stop the rock. You can't stop the rock. Can't stop the rock. You can't stop. Shake my paranoia. Can't stop the rock. 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 Shake my paranoia. I'm moving, dancing like Madonna into the groove. Shake my paranoia. I'm moving, dancing like Madonna into the groove.